The place you live will never feel like home if you keep making the same mistakes as everyone else, but there are 8 things you can do to transform any home into one that feels uniquely yours. These are low-effort design moves that won't break the bank, but they will impress your friends when they come over to visit. So in this video, I'm going to share what these 8 moves are so you can finally make your place feel like home. The first thing you want to do is use mismatched seating, because matching everything makes a room feel like a showroom, but mismatching with intention makes it feel lived in and yours. It lets you blend hand-me-downs, thrift finds, and new purchases without looking random, so your place feels collected from day one. And it's that collected energy that builds a sense of place identity, and that is exactly what turns a house into a home. So here's an idea. Start with your most comfortable seat and pair it with 2 very different chairs. In this example, we've got soft pink upholstery with a matte gray molded seat and a tweed chair with black arms. Yes, they definitely look different, but it's details like black legs that are tying them together. And you want to treat these mixed styles as a feature instead of a flaw. So just like what they've done here by putting a painted wood chair, a curved wood chair, and a woven rattan chair around this raw wood table, everything feels really well curated. And when you use one repeated detail, like a single wooden tone, you can make the mix feel really intentional. And that kind of collected look tells a story and feels personal right away. And you can also use a particularly bold piece to inject some personality. So here, they've used a pink Pantone chair beside Danish wood loungers and a dark sofa, which makes the room playful but still grounded. And with rounded edges and warm wood connecting everything, it turns mismatched choices into something intentional. Now, the second thing you should absolutely do to make your place feel like home is to use plants. Because nothing warms up a home faster than something that grows. And plants add movement, color, and some tiny daily rituals like watering, pruning, and checking new leaves that make your home feel cared for instead of staged. But you can start small and just place them where you'll see them and touch them, and then let the greenery connect your rooms so the whole space feels alive. So here are a few ideas for how to do that. First, you can wrap a doorway with floating shelves and then trail some easy growers like trailing philodendrons or pothos to link your spaces using greenery. Lifting the plants up keeps your prep areas clear while still encouraging your eye to travel around the room, and you can ground the look with terracotta pots and a few books, so it feels extra personal. Next, you can soften out any technologically heavy areas of your home by building a plant triangle with a focal tree, a snake plant, and a tabletop plant around your TV. And then echo the textures with wood furniture and a woven ottoman so that everything feels warm and welcoming. You can turn your bedroom into a sanctuary with a tall fig in a light terracotta pot in the corner and a lower maintenance plant on a low stool. Layer some tactile calm underfoot with a jute rug, and on the bed with a linen headboard so the greenery feels at home. The organic shapes soften the hard lines and make the room feel restful, and by developing the habit of wiping the leaves a few times a week, you'll deepen your attachment to the room. And if you want to make your kitchen smell and feel alive, you want to line herbs on a shelf near a bright window and keep a potted lemon tree on the counter. You can use terracotta pots with saucers for clean drainage and tie everything together with a wood shelf over a butcher block top. And consider edible plants to add some additional purpose, which you can see at breakfast time and snip them just in time for dinner. And those small harvest moments make your kitchen feel truly yours. Now, the third thing that can make your place feel like home fast is wallpaper. Because even just a single wall of patterned wallpaper adds structure, color, and hides those builder basic finishes. And because wallpaper comes in an infinite number of varieties, you can always find one that perfectly expresses what you're looking for. Plus, wallpaper is one of the easiest ways to make a space feel like home without ever touching paint. And choosing a style you connect with, like this floral wallpaper, instantly adds warmth and personality to your room. To me, this one feels a little bit Wes Anderson, with shapes and colors that are giving me a little bit of a Fantastic Mr. Fox. But if you want something with even more of an edge, how about this vibrant blue wallpaper to brighten up your bathroom? Or if you want to create more of a moody environment, you could opt for a wallpaper like this one matched with dark accents in your dining room to create this really striking look. But if you're trying to visualize what your room would look like with wallpaper, it'll be more helpful to show you a few examples of rooms before and after wallpaper. So for the first one, let's look at this nursery, which currently has wall decals of birds and trees on it. This is kind of cute for a young child, but if we just replace the decals with wallpaper, then it looks something more like this. And I think we can all agree that this looks a whole lot better. But what if you want something even more timeless? Well, in that case, you can go with more of an abstract wallpaper, which will look more like this. And the really great thing about this is that even when the child grows up, you won't need to change the wall, because this will look good for a child of any age, and it'll still look good if you decide to turn this room into an office or even a guest bedroom after the child grows up and moves out. So not only is it a smart and stylish move today, it also future-proofs the room for a variety of different use cases down the road. But let's take a look at a second room so you can get an even better idea of how wallpaper can change a space. Here's a pretty standard living room with absolutely nothing on the walls, and it looks quite barren. So I thought, I wonder what it'll look like with a similar nature landscape to what we tried in the nursery. So here's what that looks like, and I think it actually looks pretty good. But of course, for some people, having these trees behind their couch is going to feel overwhelming, and they're going to want something a little less in your face. So here's a more abstract design that also works quite nicely. Now, there's no doubt that there's still a lot that needs to be improved in this room, so I wouldn't say it looks amazing right now, but if you just clean it up a little bit, then you'd be looking at something more like this, which I would say looks considerably better than it did just a minute ago. And I could show you dozens of other examples here, but I think you get the point. Wallpaper can look really good if you use it tastefully. Of course, that's where most people go wrong, because they choose a style of wallpaper that just doesn't work in their space at all. And that's why I developed what I call the paper framework, which is specifically designed to help you think through where to apply wallpaper and which type of wallpaper you should use given your surroundings. I won't go into all the details here, but I've fed the entire framework plus a bunch of other interior design principles into a tool I built that generated these images you're seeing here, so these wallpaper styles have not been chosen randomly. There's actually a lot of deep thinking and theory behind each of these choices. So if you want to get access to that tool so you can see how your room would look with different types of wallpaper before you commit to a style that doesn't work for you, there's a link in the description. Now, the fourth thing you can do to make your place feel like home is to hang photos and artwork and just personalize your space, because blank walls make your home feel like a waiting room. But instead, if you put your story on the wall so you see it every day, then your space starts talking back to you. So here are some ideas on how to execute this. First, you can start with an anchor like a wooden sideboard, and then build a small grid above it with mixed sized frames and white mats. Here, they've kept the gaps relatively even and let a couple of abstract prints sit next to some landscapes, so the entire setup feels collected, not themed. And if you add in the small plant on the floor to soften the corner, that combination gives you a daily drop zone and a mini gallery that says to people, this is your home. But you can also go bolder if you want to inject some personality fast. You can mix in vintage posters, family photos, and landscape art in some warm wood frames around a neutral sofa. And you can do what they've done here by pulling a color from the orange chair and the patterned rug and repeating it throughout the art so that everything clicks. And then the living room becomes a conversation starter instead of a plain box. Now, if drilling into your wall is tricky, then you can create a vignette on a table or dresser instead. I recommend using tabletop frames with family or personal photos that you love, because a portable gallery like this makes any corner feel personal right from day one. And you can also treat your everyday objects like part of the art story. So hang a simple abstract print near a warm accent wall and let some hanging ferns frame the scene. Or place a bicycle or an instrument nearby and let its shape and color play with the artwork. Because when your real life sits next to your art, the room will feel unmistakably yours. Alright, now the fifth thing that's going to make your place feel like home is really leaning into everything cozy and comfortable. Because this is what turns a space from just four walls into somewhere where you actually want to stay. And I'm not talking about expensive pieces. I'm talking about creating softness, warmth, and routines that make you feel settled. Because when the textures, lighting, and atmosphere in your place invite you to slow down, that's the moment it starts to feel like home. So one way to approach this is to lead with deep, soft textures that you can physically sink into. So that might mean going for a corduroy sofa, piling on some chunky throws and pillows, and grounding everything with a high pile rug. Keep the light gentle with a paper lantern, and then let low wood cabinets and a tall palm wrap the seating area so it feels like a nest that you want to come home to. And you should also soften daylight instead of fighting it. So hang linen curtains so the light diffuses and everything just looks warm. You can also place a plant in a woven basket at the window to add a bit of life and a small daily ritual. And the added benefit is that the filtered glow slows you down and makes the room feel safe and cozy. You can also layer linen bedding with a quilt and some extra pillows so it feels inviting at any time of day. And if you make some small changes like allowing the sunlight to hit your bed in the morning and keeping a vase of wild flowers on the nightstand, your bed will quickly become a space that you look forward to spending time in, and it'll really feel like yours. And finally, you can finish with heavy textures that calm the edges of your room. So a chunky knit throw and a thick wool rug feel great on your bare feet, and they warm up the floor. And you continue that warm feeling with a wooden bed frame and sheer curtains, and then add in velvet pillows for a quiet glow. A woven pendant overhead ties everything together and just makes the room feel restful every night. The sixth thing you can do to make your place feel like home is to fix your lighting, because lighting is the fastest way to make a new place feel calm, warm, and lived in. You let daylight do the work in the morning, and then use soft, warm lamps at night so your brain knows it's time to wind down. Because when the lighting is right, you naturally slow down and start building routines that feel unique to you. So here's how you can do it. First, create a welcoming dining glow with light at 3 different heights. Use a wood pendant for soft overhead light, and then add globe lamps on the cabinet for some ambient fill. Park a wavy floor lamp in the corner to round out the shadows and highlight the plant, and keep those bulbs warm at around 2700 kelvins. And then finish with candles on the table so diners linger and the space immediately feels inviting. In your bedroom, you can make bedtime cozy by placing lights where you read and unwind. So you can mount matching paper lanterns as plug-in sconces on both sides of the bed to wash the wooden headboard and the art above, and it allows you to keep the ceiling light off at night. You also want to make sure you choose warm bulbs and let the jute rug underfoot catch the glow for a softer edge. The low light invites quiet conversation, and it also helps the room feel like your personal retreat. Now, regardless of where you are in your home, you want to use layered lighting instead of using a single bright source. So in this example, keep the paper lantern dim for a gentle base, and add some candles and a low shelf light for depth and sparkle without getting a ton of glare. You know, that layered scene makes movie nights and catch-ups feel extra intimate and homey. Now, the next thing you can do to make your place feel like home is use earth tones and warm colors. Because cool, gray heavy homes can feel a bit flat, but warm palettes that rely on beige, oat, terracotta, honeywood, and soft peach, they add instant comfort and make mixed furniture look like it belongs together. Plus, they also flatter skin tones and look great in evening light, so your apartment feels welcoming the second you walk in. So use a warm, blush beige wall to soften the room and make oat or gray toned linen feel cozy instead of cold. And then add in a copper pendant and some woven textile art to layer in warmth that complements the wood headboard. And if you keep the palette gentle so the mixed wood tones feel like they belong together, you get a calm wind down corner that feels like your room from day one. You can anchor your palette with honey oak wood and repeat it across different pieces, so even your thrift finds read like a set. Layer some terracotta pots for some earthy warmth and life, and hang a paper lantern to create an early evening glow that invites you to slow down. Those repeated warm tones make you want to sit, read, and stay, and they build the habit of being at home. You can paint peach walls to lift the mood and turn your light wood shelves into a feature, and then let your books, small lamps, and ceramics become the art so your story is always on display. The soft base allows you to layer color without creating chaos, and that visible story makes the room feel like a lived-in lounge rather than a stopover. Or you can do what they've done here by bringing in caned cantilever chairs to add some natural texture that connects to the oak herringbone floor. Keep the walls soft and creamy so your tulip table stays fresh while the overall palette remains warm. And repeat these straw, oak, and soft white tones across the kitchen and dining rooms to tie those zones together. Because when everything speaks the same warm language, people instinctively pull up a chair and the space starts feeling like home. Now, the 8th thing you can do to make your space feel like home is create a personalized entryway. Because the entryway is the very first space that people see in your home, which is why it sets the entire mood. But it shouldn't feel like a showroom. Instead, it should feel like a personal welcome that reflects your personality and your style. And even in a small corner, the right mix of furniture and decor can instantly create that sense of comfort and belonging. So here, the woven bench paired with these hooks creates a simple lived-in look. And it feels natural, as if it's actually used every day rather than just a stylistic piece. The warm tones of wood and woven textures add a soft, cozy welcome, and it's just a nice place to enter your home from. Now here, adding in this round mirror above the bench just makes the space feel practical and inviting. The clean lines and wood tones keep it modern, but the soft textiles bring that bit of warmth. And with a neutral base, it's easy to personalize through plants or other small accents. And then a more playful style is coming through in this entryway with the peach-colored hook rack and the round mirror, which is all surrounded by a few pieces of quirky decor. The everyday items like hats and plants add some character, but in my view, if they added some wallpaper here, it would just take this space to the next level. And so I took this image and ran it through my wallpaper tool, and here's what I got in return. This one is very bold, but I'm pretty sure this is a woman's apartment, so I think it looks great. And then this option is a bit more subdued and timeless, but it looks really good as well. So if you want to get access to this wallpaper tool that integrates all the knowledge and theory behind what makes wallpaper look good and visualizes it in your space, there's a link in the description. Okay, so now you know how to make your place feel like home. But don't stop now, because once your place feels like home, you're going to want to take it to the next level and turn it into something truly special. And for that, you're going to need a plan. So watch this video next to learn one of the quickest ways to make your home look and feel like a high-end hotel. I'll see you there.